Am I being delusional because I'm realizing and I understand that I have everything, or I'm actually being very realistic because I'm actually understanding how reality works and who I truly am? Welcome to the channel. My name is Margarida and I'm a manifestation teacher for you to live your most embodied, your most abundant reality. Living like the queen that you are or living like the king that you are. And I'm here to share with you knowledge and wisdom that I've experienced through my life and that really helped me. And today we're going to talk about, am I being delusional? Am I being like crazy and insane about considering or accepting or believing that I have in fact what I want when like the reality, the physical world is showing me otherwise? I wanted to let you know that, honey, you are going to live a life. If you come on to this video, I know that you are meant to live a life that is going to feel and is going to look delusional for the mediocrity that society told you that's what life is. And by the people that have not accepted, that have not remembered that they hold the power, that they have not remembered how powerful and how potent they are. So when you start to see life and understand how reality works, you are not even being delusional, you are being the realistic one. And the people that are still asleep, the people that are not recognizing that this world is not simply what you can see and what you can feel with your physical senses, but there is so much more beyond that. You are the one that is going to be considered like crazy and delusional for the rest of the other people that are asleep to their potential. So I just wanted to clarify that because people feel so proud to say, I am so realistic. Where those that characteristic, you being realistic, where did it take you? Where? Are you living greatness in your life? Are you recognizing your greatness in your life? Are you living miracles as your daily common thing? Or are you struggling and efforting? Because I bet you are. If you're being realistic, I bet you're struggling. And I bet you're having a lot of difficulties after difficulties because you're not using your creative power. Only people that recognize their power and their inner greatness within are able to live the greatness outside. Only people that reach levels of greatness, everyone that is so funny in this society, because the people that we really put on a pedestal, that we admire, that we find genius, insane, amazing, that we find great, those people have to be unrealistic. They have to be delusional. But no, they are actually tapped into the truth of the reality. That is, we are God. We are the source itself. We are the consciousness. And when we know that we are the consciousness itself, that there is no power outside of us, that we are actually part of this one consciousness, and when we understand that the physical world is not static and it doesn't have its own life, we are the ones that give life to things. The physical world is simply a projection, like the 3D is simply a projection of our own consciousness, of our own identity, of our own concepts, of our own beliefs, of our own visions and truths that we have defined it about ourselves, about the reality, about the world. When you understand that the reality that you can touch, that's simply 0.000000001%, and the unseen, the potential, is 99.9999999%, like continuing the 9. When you dive deeper into quantum physics, when they study the atoms and the electrons are made of 99.99999% and only 0.0000001% of matter. And even the atoms, the electrons, the photons, they can behave either as a particle or as a wave according to the observation. So the matter is not stagnant, my dear. The matter is shaped, it's shifted, it's manipulated by us. So we are living in our own simulation. We are living in our own reality. In my own reality, I am the main character and I'm the one that chooses what are the rules that are making that reality work. And you can choose the rules and have a reality that you don't like or a reality that I do like. It's actually very easy to shift those rules. It's a choice, it's a decision, and you're making them daily. Daily, people tell you things, you read things, you hear things, and you choose, you make a choice, you make a decision to take it as truth. But you are the one that chooses and decide what you take as truth. So when people are telling you, being Delulu is the solution. Well, actually, when you study quantum physics, when you study metaphysics, and even if I didn't have studied that, I just know it in my being that you are being the one that is realistic. You're not actually being delusional because you actually understand the fact that this is how reality works. The fact that we have parallel realities happening, that there is no future, there is no past, there's only the present moment, and all the versions of you already exist now. All the potentials already are made now. All those parallel realities, all those different universes are made now. And this is an understanding. So when you understand that we are multidimensional beings and we live in this reality that is multidimensional, that there is nothing that there will ever be or there was. Even in the Bible says this. Everything there is, there is. Like there's no, it's impossible to create something. Everything is already done and created. So when you are aware of this, you know that everything is already within you. You know that everything is already accessible to you. You know that there is already a version of you that, for example, is dating that person that you desire. That reality is available. That reality exists. That version of you exists right now. The moment you decide that you are that version, you are that version. You enter into that state. You enter in that state of consciousness, and you start to think like her. You start to assume different things. You start to have different beliefs, have different concepts, have different truths. You start to feel neutrality, peace, fun, excitement. You start to see yourself in a different way. It's like you enter a new identity, right? And that identity is like a code. And the moment you enter that identity, the code is like playing out, and you don't have to make an effort. That's why I always say, like, you don't have to become that version. You have to realize that you already are. The moment you say you are, you are. You jump back into the past version, the older version that you didn't prefer, because you start questioning, am I really that? You start trusting your faith. You start to make the choice to believe on the doubts of your mind. And your mind is just a tool for you. You are the consciousness, so you have to rise above that. You have to see the mind below you as a tool, as is this phone, as is this microphone. So when you start to understand that reality works this way, I'm actually being the one that is very realistic. I'm being the one that being very logical and very intelligent. I was always someone very creative and dreamy, like a dreamer. Like people, if you know me when I was younger, people say, yes, she's a very like a dreamer. She always like dream about big things and all of that. And people will be like, she's such a dreamer, right? But guess what? I'm living that. I'm going to those places. Life just keeps getting better. And but I was also very logic and very rational, and I always loved to understand, and that's why I became a teacher of all of this, because my mind loved to understand the how and loved to understand how things work. And I also love science. So for me, the joining of the science and the spiritual and the unseen, that's gorgeous. That's so interesting for me, and I love it. And so, but then I came to the conclusion that, look, I'm being very realistic and very logic when I understand that this is the way reality works. And when I know that those versions of me are done and available now, when I know that those realities are done and prepared and finished, and they already are happening now and they already exist, I have to take that into consideration. If I'm not taking that in consideration, if I'm using all my creative power and I'm throwing into the trash because I'm just paying attention to what is now, the circumstances that are now, I'm using my creative power to create more of those circumstances. I have to go beyond the current circumstances, and that's being powerful. That's being great. That's what is called the Christ consciousness. That's what Jesus Christ represents, and that's what he did to those people. He always said, "Your faith did it," because he was able to see on the other people that he was doing the miracles. He was able to understand that there is another version of that person, like a healthy one, for example, a healed one. And so he will raise his consciousness to that version, right? And that person that was with Jesus believed in him so much that had faith that that was going to work, and that's what the miracle. That's what the miracle is. But if the person didn't believe that that would be possible, like nothing would happen. So it was the faith of the person that did that. But Jesus was the consciousness that we all have within us. It's a type of consciousness. It's called the Christ consciousness, or your imagination, or your capacity to see beyond what you're currently seeing and feeling with your five senses. When you are doing that, you are using everything that you were born to. Like, you are using all the tools, all the capacity, all the potential that when you came to this earth, you were given to. You are meant to use that. You are meant to do that. Everyone, like for example, the person that created this cell phone, this microphone, it was first in the mind, first in imagination, in the unseen, in the potential. And then it became a matter. And people could say, yo, you're being unrealistic, dude. Like, you're creating a microphone. What is that? Like, that doesn't exist. You're being such a Delulu. You're being crazy. But guess what? He was creating something new. He was bringing the unseen into seen. He understood that if I can imagine, it's because it exists. And actually, something that I learned with Dr. Joe Dispenza, like when we are imagining something, we are accessing with our pineal gland or what's called the eye, like the third eye chakra. We are entering into another like timeline that is exists now, and we are kept. It's like we are a radio, and we are receiving all of that information. If you couldn't imagining it, it wouldn't exist. If you can imagine, it must exist. It exists, and it's done, and it's ready for you to access it, to enter it, to fully know and decide, I'm this, I have this, and you start living as that version, and you start being that identity. And whenever your mind is sabotaging you, that's what I do in my daily life. Whenever my mind is like sabotaging me, I think, what this chosen version, the version of me that I just decided to be, what she will think about this. And maybe she's going to be like, the mind, look at your mind, giving all these suggestions and making all of these confusions. It doesn't matter for me. I know what I want. I know who I am, and I know that I'm now in my desired reality. So I don't care about any of that. I don't care about what the circumstances are telling me or being. I'm the one that tells what they mean. I'm the one that gives the meaning and gives to them a story that then is going to be playing out in my reality. So I hope you did understand that you're not being delusional. So that's why I don't even use this term of like, yeah, I'm a Delulu girl, I'm a delusional girl, and I always get everything that I want, and I always experience everything that I want. I don't say that because that's not the case for me. I'm actually being very realistic because I have understood how reality works. I have understood that I'm a multidimensional being. I have understood even the quantum physics and the science of it that shows me that the physical world is just a projection, is just an illusion, and it's manipulated by my own energy, by my own consciousness, by my own observation. And I have understood that all the potentials exist now. If you want to, you study, go deeper into quantum physics, metaphysics, and you will start to be like, oh, that's true. Like literally, they have proofs for this. So I'm actually being the one very realistic. The people that are still trapped in the 3D, they are the ones that are Delulu. They are the ones that are asleep. They are the ones that they are not seeing things for what they are. They think they are, but they are not. They are not using any of their power. They are not using. They are dormant. They are just reacting. They are in a victim mindset. They are not creating. They are not being the creators. They are not being the masters. And honey, you're here to be the master. You're here to be the creator. You're here to embody that and to live that. Because that's who you are. And that's why living on the other side, where you're being like realistic and you're efforting and you're struggling and you are seeing things for what they are, but you're not capable to create and understand that you're so much more than that. And actually that the physical world is just your reflection, just your mirror, is just the stories that you keep telling yourself and the concepts that you have about yourself, the identity that you have bought. But when you understand that you don't have to live in that way, because living in that way sucks. Like I already lived in that way, even though it was never fully in that way, because I always had this awareness that there's something beyond. There's something beyond this. There's something even before I've studied, I felt it. I knew, like, not even I felt it, I knew it. I know it. So it's not even a belief, it's that I know it. So in this very moment, I want you to remember that you being able to understand that you are a creator and a master, and that you have all the versions of you available to you, and that you are the I am, and that you are God, and that you are consciousness. You are being logical, you are being very responsible, and you are being very realistic, because you know how reality works. You know who you are. You remembered who you are. And for you to live greatness and to experience greatness and to tap into your greatness, that's the only way to. Yes, that's the only way to. That's the only way. Because if it was about the realistic that society calls, like that you will get everything that you wanted to, like 99% of population will live in their dreams realities, and they don't. Because they are not a master of their realities. They are not creating anything. They're just, well, they are still creating, they are still the manifestors, but they are manifesting unconsciously. So they keep being a version of themselves that they don't desire. They keep buying into stories and beliefs that they don't desire, and the reality, the physical world that is a mirror, is just reflecting back and back and back at them. But right now, I'm telling you, it's time for you to live your greatness. It's time for you to recognize the greatness that you are. And only the people that experience greatness, as I said in the beginning, are the ones that are called like crazy and delusional. But guess what? They are the ones that live everything they have desired. They are the ones that know that it's possible, that know that it's available, that know that it's here, that know that it's done, that know that it's theirs, that know that it's mine, it's yours. You don't have to use your rational mind to the things and think about the things. Because if it was about, as I said before, if it was about all of that thinking and all about worrying and struggling and working more, everyone will have what they want, and they don't. So I hope this video gave you some clarity that you are in fact being very logical and realistic when you understand that there is more to what we can see. And when you remember your potential, remember your power, and you remember who you are, God consciousness. So if you did like this video and you resonated with this message, like the video and subscribe to the channel, and leave the comments down below of what you loved, what you enjoyed, questions, requests. I'm open to know all of that. Sending so much love.